All right, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Vlog Talk, welcome, welcome, welcome. YouTube, welcome. How's everybody? I hope everybody is doing an amazing, having a great day, a great week. I hope you're being safe because you know we got some stuff on the horizon and we got some stuff that we need to talk about tonight. I am so pleased with everybody who has been joining me throughout the week before, during, and after the program. You guys are coming on, you guys are listening in. I appreciate you sharing the broadcast. I appreciate everything that everybody is doing. I appreciate you spending these hour and a half to 2 hours with me every Thursday and sometimes on Tuesdays. I've not been able to do Tuesdays for a minute. This week and last week had some other things to come up, but I'm gonna try to get back into it. Just wanted to come to you guys for a moment. I hope everybody is being safe because you know we had a little threat. Your president, was calling on the good old boys last night, right? Okay, all right, y'all better. I've been talking about getting your weapon. I've been talking about you guys getting your permit, and I don't understand if you do not have a weapon. I don't understand why you don't. I'm just saying if your president has made a threat like that, I think you need to get busy, family. I think I would not go home or come out the house without it. And if you are walking around here and you don't have your weapon and you thinking, this is back in the day, and white folk ain't doing this that, and the other, and we already know that they're doing some things. Okay, so if you don't have a weapon, shame on you. I'm just saying. Don't leave home without it. Um, Blog Talk, I want to give you the number. I am on YouTube also at the time. We're doing a live, but I'm streaming it. Okay. But the title for Blog Talk, if you want to ever contact Blog Talk, let me give you the phone number. And that phone number is 563-999-3682. And if you want to look it up online, it's The Changing of the Gods. And we're going to talk about the Kerner Commission report. Okay. And that is the benign neglect report. I want to understand how all of this. Welcome, you guys. Jazzy, welcome. D, welcome. I appreciate you guys for joining in. I just wanted to talk, and we want to understand, where did the benign neglect come from? Why is it that we have issues in the Black community, and I have not heard them discuss them at all? And it's almost like they don't even exist. But I also want to talk a little bit about the Breonna case also. I know everybody's chiming in on it, but I want everybody to understand that this right here, what you're seeing, is not done by man, is done by Yah. I don't care what nobody says. This is a system of a wicked system, an evil system that is literally right now crumbling right before our eyes. You know how sometimes they say you could put a frog in a pot of water, or you could turn it up a little bit, and the frog won't even know it's boiling. That's this system now. They're fighting to stay alive. But my thing is, if this Daniel Cameron has done all of this evil, and he has done all of this backbiting and throwing his own culture under the bus, how many other cases has he done like that? Not just him, but how many other cases over the years that we've gone and taken to the grand jury that the grand jury did not indict? Remember Michael Brown? Remember some other cases that the grand jury, so-called, has not pressed charges. But is there any way to rehash that Michael Brown case up just to see what was presented to the grand jury? Because I guarantee you, this is a system that has been for a long time. Don't you guys think for 1 minute that this is the only time that this system has been used like this? Brianna, you had so many wrongs that went wrong in this case. Everybody was thinking it was Kenneth. Everybody said, oh, he shot first, but he shot in the floor. Okay. And then even after, you had officers going inside the house, removing evidence. How is that? Who's going to keep these two? Who's going to hold Cameron? And don't forget Thomas, is it Thomas Wise? Don't forget, he had something to do. Remember the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend? He wrote a letter to him and said, if you just say her name, connect her and say she was working with you or she was some kind of contact person, that your charges will go away. Remember that? And the boyfriend told his attorney, and the attorney let that out, right? How many other times is that really done in real life that we don't even know about? I keep looking, I'm thinking about all of this, and I'm like, this case is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now they've allowed him 2 days to do what with the, can you alter those tapes? I wonder if he can alter those tapes any kind of way, because I guarantee he's going to try to alter those tapes. I guarantee you. I don't know how he can, but I'm guaranteeing you that he has IT working on them now. Okay, every day is something that's unfolding with that case. But guess what? If God wasn't in it, if Yahshua wasn't in it, none of this, we wouldn't know any of this. This is how you know that it's the changing of the gods, you guys. This is why I call my program right now, The Changing of the Gods, because it is changing right in front of our eyes. Right in front of our eyes. But do we really understand it? Do we really understand, and do we really see what time we're in? Because he said at the end, everything will be revealed. He said everything will be revealed, right? We got to understand what's really going on here. He's pulling the covers. He's pulling the covers off all this crazy stuff. A system, a racist system, a hypocritical system. And that system is a system that we've been involved in for a long time, but nobody would admit it, or nobody would pay us any attention, because they thought, oh, you're just playing the race cards. Y'all niggas just playing the race cards. That's what I was wondering, Jazzy, if they can alter those tapes. He said he wanted to remove some of the witnesses and the addresses and stuff. I believe that he's going to alter those tapes as best he can, but I'm praying, because I've never seen where a grand jury, anybody on a grand jury anywhere, and maybe this will give other grand jury jurors, maybe this will give them the courage to step forward and say, yeah, even on the Michael Brown case, this wasn't presented to us, or that wasn't presented. Cameron made it seem like, and I'm calling him by his last name, Daniel Cameron, he made it seem like he presented it to the grand jury and the grand jury rejected, making us think that they got off again. But guess what? This coon didn't even offer. He decided for himself that he was going to save the white boys instead of looking out for his own sister. See, I'm going to tell you, back in the day, that joker right there would have been taken to the backside of the alley, and my brother would have took care of them. My cousins would have took care of him. You remember back in the day, okay, Jazzy, back in the day, we took care of creatures, drug jokers like coons. We took care of them, didn't we? We ain't tolerated. It's more and more in the Black community, more and more Black leaders, or more and more Black people that's in powerful positions that could actually be making a change for us, is working for your enemy. That's what I don't understand. That's what I'm having a problem with. I don't get it. You are in a prime position to help your people. But this is going to get us to the point where, if we want to see, say for instance, voting. Okay, let's get on that just a little bit. Okay, remember the Jews, they used to talk about the Jews, they used to dog the Jews out. Remember that? They used to be just as poor, and they used to live in the ghetto just like Black folk did they not? What happened to them? They paid their way. They started pulling their monies together. They kept their money in their community. They didn't support anybody else but themselves. And what happened? They kind of grew out of the rut, didn't it? But guess what? They don't run the vote. You know what they do? You know what AIPAC stand for? AIPAC is what the Jews use in order to front their money. They put their money in AIPAC, and AIPAC will go to the different candidates and say, okay, this is what we need. We backing you with these millions of dollars, and this is what we need. That's how they get stuff done in their community. But Black folk don't do that. We'll jump behind a candidate like Biden, who has known forever. He's had what, 60, 70, 30, 50 years. Okay, I don't know. He's been in office, sitting in Congress for a long time, right? He's been in office for a long time. He had 8 years with Obama, plus 30 years, because he started in the 70s, 75, 80, somewhere up in there. No, I think it was like about 80s when he first got in there. But he had 30, 40 years to fix he had 30 years to right his wrongs, right? But did he do anything to correct the problems that he did? He didn't do anything to correct the problems.
They're gonna take care of it.
Okay, honey. They didn't do anything to correct. That was my husband. He didn't do anything to correct the issue, did he? My thing is, we have to understand what we're dealing with. What are we dealing with, family? We're dealing with two races. I don't care. Biden may look old as dirt right now, but that dude was a mess back in the day. And I will never forget. And that's how he talked about his son Hunter. He talked about his son Hunter being on drugs and talking about, yeah, he dealing with it. But did Hunter ever face any jail charges? Did he ever face any jail time? Did he ever get any charges? Knowing that Hunter, his son, was on drugs, but did he ever face anything that our black men faced? Did he ever spend one day in jail behind his drug addiction? I guarantee you not. But yet, the same law that you created for our black men, your son fell into it. Every time, family, they try to do something against us, what happens? Just like the opiates, they put drugs in our neighborhood. What happened? Opiates hit them bad. They put abortion clinics in our neighborhood, low birth rates. They're not even having babies right now. By 2040, them jokers will be out. But I shouldn't say maybe, because we got a lot of black women now and a lot of black men that's digging on these white women and men. They digging them. And I'm like, you guys that's dating these white women, you are genociding your own culture. You are working for your own demise. And just like Biden told, he said, we're gonna get 11 million immigrants. Welcome, Andre. Welcome. Biden told us we are going to get how many illegal? We're gonna bring in 11 million immigrants, right? What's that gonna say about your jobs, black men? This is your opportunity to get your businesses right now. Let's start concentrating on having our own businesses. Let's start concentrating on backing, just like some of you men here. You guys can run for mayor. Why is it that black folk think we can't run for office and we support each other? We should be supporting one another. We should be supporting each other. But we're not doing that. Why are we not supporting each other? We can take up, say for instance, if I'm running for mayor and I have 20 friends and I say, you guys, y'all gonna back me, and we start advertising, we start understanding who we're running against, and those 20 friends will save maybe $20 a month and it goes toward my campaign. So within 2 years, I'll have enough money that's backing me to be able to run for office. It don't take but $1,500 to $2,000, maybe $1,500 or $2,000, depending on the size of your city, to be able to run for mayor or Congress, not Congress, mayor or city council or something like that. It don't take but maybe $2,000 or $3,000, just depending on who you're running against. But if I start out and say, like, for now, I may say, hey, maybe next 2 years I might run for something. I could start stashing money away too. My family could start stashing money away, and we support. That's what white folk do. They put money behind their candidates. We don't put money behind anybody, do we? When the last time you knew black folk to put money behind somebody? When the last time you knew black folk to stand behind anybody that's running for office and really stand behind that person? We had Paul Howard in Georgia. He had bought. I think I've mentioned him before. He bought charges up on the Brooks. What's that? Rayshard Brooks, the guy that killed Rayshard, the police officer. He brought charges up on that cop. Remember? And Fannie, the cops got mad and got upset, and did what? Put another black woman that they was backing. Now, anytime the police union is backing somebody, that means I'm working for the police union, right? Y'all better understand this thing. The police union backed her. And who else? The guy that shot Brooks, his attorney, backed her. That right there, that speaks volumes. That you can't even, how can I work? How can I do my job if I got the very people that I'm supposed to go against and backing me? I cannot take their money and then work against them, can I? That means she's already in their pocket. So, Georgia, you think by you getting rid of Paul Howard that you got some friends there? That Fannie Mae gonna tear y'all hands up. Y'all never will get nothing through. Y'all never will get another officer convicted. At least Paul Howard was trying to get those convicted. He was trying to convict something. Even if I don't know what kind of person he was before this, but those white folk, they said they already knew you out of here. But black folk, that's the sad part about it. We didn't even back him. We didn't even go. They didn't even get out and vote for him. to back him, to keep him in office, just so we could see what he was going to do about that cop that he brought those felony charges against. He brought a lot, like 5 charges against this officer. And they wasn't used to that. And them crackers was crying. They was mad. They was crying. They was upset because he had brought so many charges against them. And they said, oh, we out here doing our job. And you know, but no, you ain't doing your job. Murder's not your job. Murder is not your job. Your job is to let them live another day. Just like we want to live another day. That's what your job is. You got his number. You had his license. Wasn't no reason for Brooks to die. Yeah, he was running away from you. So what? You had his license. You had his license in your hand. You could have went to his house and got the dude. Eventually, he gonna come home. Why in the world did you have a need to shoot? Because he was running. He was trying, testing. Trying to shoot. Either you run or you don't. If you run, you die. If you don't run, you die. Which one? Which one? I'm just saying. Seen a case also. What about the dude that ended up getting shot 6? How many times did the dude that was riding the bike that the cops pulled over in California and they gave him a vehicular violation? A vehicular violation. They was writing him up a ticket for a bike. He was on a bike and they killed his brother. Tell me why. But see, Black folk, I keep telling y'all, until we fight back. One more story and then I'm gonna get on to what I want to talk about. There was a little girl. She was 8. And Brother Maurice brought this up and really upset me because the white woman, little girl was Black. She was riding her bike and she was 8. And when they first come on and they talk about the little girl, they said, oh, motor vehicle hit and run. But the little girl was 8 and she didn't get hurt that bad. Well, if you're 8, you're a baby. I'll think about my granddaughter. And you get hit by a car that's going, even if the car is going 20 or 30 miles, 20 miles, 25, even if the car is moving, it's going to hurt, right? It knocked her up in the air. She hit the ground. She was crying, laying on the ground still. The lady raised her window down, looked out of the door, and drives off. Now, hold on. She gets up the street and she called and reported it, right? But she didn't report it right away. And then the police, the parents called the police and they was trying to report her and tell, say what had happened. And they said, we're not going to arrest her. Now, this is a hit and run. They said, nope, we're not going to arrest her because she did everything legally because she had called in and she told them that the little girl had told her. She got out the car. She said, I talked to the little girl. Little girl told me that she was fine. She dusted herself off and rode off with her bike with a little friend of hers. That's not what happened. That's not. The camera on, everybody got doorbell candles, right? Or cameras, right? So the movement of that doorbell, it alerts the camera. So the camera starts rolling. So what they saw was her pull up, look out the window, see the little girl on the ground, and didn't never get out, didn't say anything to the little girl, rolled the window back up and kept moving. So that to me is hit and run. So they went to the parents called the police and they was concerned about the little girl because, she was having a problem walking. And they was asking, them, was they going to arrest her? And they said, no, we're not going to arrest her because that's why? Because she followed the law. She followed the law. I would have said, okay. I would have said nothing else. But I'm going to tell you what, couple months, I'd have been outside her house because I'd have been watching her because I'm going to get her. You ain't going to do nothing? I got that. That's my baby. I got that. Don't do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. I got you. You ain't got to never do nothing. I'll take care of it legally. Because my thing is, how is it, what is going on with the laws now that them white folk can do whatever they want? And they doing it. And they not getting no time, no jail, no arrest, no nothing. Who getting all the jail time? Black folk. If you live through it. I'm just saying. But you had the nerve to say that baby wasn't hurt, but she got hit by a car. But you said, we're not going to arrest her because she did the right thing. What is the law? Is that hit and run? That's hit and run to me. If you leave a scene, you didn't call the police right there. That is hit and run. What is the law for a hit and run? I know the law as well. You reported it. So, you went up the road, but you did leave the side of an accident. You left the side of an accident. Okay, you went up the road, did what you need to do. But that baby was still hit. But you didn't think enough to call the ambulance for her. You just left her on the side of the road. What if she was unconscious or what if, but I guess she heard the baby crying, but she left the baby right there. Taptia, welcome. And this right here, family, is where we're at. We're at right now. When Trump said, he told them to stand down. He said, stand back, stand down, but stand back, right? Stand back and stand down, right? That's what he said. But he never renounced them. What did he say? Yes, I remember that slave law. There really is a slave law. And I do believe a lot of laws that they had back in the day is still in the books. They won't. They say they're gone. They say they replaced them, but they're still in use, family. They're still in use because they'll convict us in a heartbeat. But my thing is, y'all can stay here and put up with this stuff. I already told y'all what my plan is. I'm done. I've had enough. I was so frustrated out of what I'm seeing right now. It's at a point where when you told the Boogaloo Boys or the Three Percenters or whoever Trump's fan club is, not the KKK. I'm sure you still have those too, but now they're calling them something else. Okay, now they're calling they got the armed militias or whatever, but still, these militias, white militias, are out there to help the police. I still talk about that hidden Rittenhouse boy, okay, 17, whose mama should be in jail today for driving her son across the state line with an armed, loaded, lock and loaded AR-15. Took her son from Chicago across the border to Kenosha, and he killed two rioters. I'm just saying. And then they said, oh, it's self-defense. No, it wasn't self-defense because your behind shouldn't have been out there in the first place. And your mom should have had enough sense to say, son, what are you doing? I'm not driving you across the state line. I'm not doing that. But she was proud that her son was following in his daddy or her or granddaddy's footsteps to be a killer. I'm just saying, because a lot of this stuff, they getting paid back for a lot of dirt that they doing now. They getting paid back. You should. I work with white folk, and I hear all this stuff that's going on in their families. And one lady, she came up to me and she said, "Cassie," she said, "we own slaves, right?" She said, "My grandpa, my papa owned slaves." And she said, and I guarantee he must have been really mean to those slaves because she was telling me stuff that was going on in her family. And I looked at her. She said her aunt had committed suicide. Her aunt's brother had committed suicide. Her brother killed another brother, and then he killed. I mean, it was so many deaths that was going on in that family. I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, I think you got some stuff going on in that family." I did. I said, "Yeah, I think you got a whole lot of stuff going on in that family." She said, "I'm going to do our history and stuff," and I said, "You might not like what you see." I said, "But yeah, you got some stuff going on." But I'm thinking, you know what? Sowing and reaping, karma. Sowing and reaping is so real. It's so real right now. I mean, we're talking about their kids on suicide, committing suicide. I work with a 19-year-old, and she was talking about all these kids, and that's all these her family, not her family, but her friend's family. Her friend's brother committed suicide in front of the sister, and drug overdosing, and all of this stuff. The very drugs that we went to jail for, they doing them, and they dying. We went to jail for ours, but they died for theirs. They're dying. People don't understand how serious sowing and reaping is. When you do what you do to God's chosen, and that's who we are. People don't know that's who we are. Why you think so many black folk getting their own businesses now? The tide is turning. I don't know who can see it, but this thing is turning and it's slowly turning. It's turning slow too, but I can see it. Can y'all see it? I can see that thing changing. And it's like slowly, it's making that 360 slowly. And it's just, I look at it every day. I see something different. The last 3 months, well, October, November, December, the last 3 months, October, November, December, you guys keep your eyes open and watch. Because I'm telling you, I see it. I've seen more black owned businesses opening up within the last year. I'm just saying the whole 2020, y'all. I've seen more black owned businesses opening up. You know what? You're right. D, you're right. My thing is, we see that there is time for a change, right? We can see it. I can see it. But we got so many hard-headed people. We got so many people that's still trying to, it's almost like they offer you Satan or the devil to vote for. And then they tell you choose one. I'm not going to choose either one. I don't have to. If we would either, we could vote independently. I'm not a voter. I'm just saying I do locally. But I do believe that a lot of these judges, the mayors, now these are offices that we can run for, you guys. D, you can run for mayor. 34, you can run for city council. Septia, you can run for mayor. All of these offices we should be running for. We can change our situation ourselves. We so busy voting for a presidential election that we have nothing to do with because they have given you the illusion that you can change something and we can't. You've got the illusion. Hey, do this and this will happen. You got people saying, oh my God, if you don't get it, oh my God, we got to get Trump out of there. And I'm looking at them like, well, Biden's been in office for 30, 40 years. What has he done for anybody? And Trump just came out with his little list. He's been in office 4 years and he's not done anything, but now he's gonna give you a list that said, oh, if you put me back in, I'm gonna do this for you. Well, damn, you had 4 years to do it and didn't. I'm just saying, what are we doing? Why are we settling for less? Why is that we always have to take the crappy end of everything? Can we think for ourselves, please? Can we stop waiting on white supremacists to do anything for us? That's just like the mouse going to the cat, say, can you not stop chasing me a minute so I can go get something to eat? What are we doing? What are we doing? We just we running around like Tom and Jerry. Remember Tom and Jerry? I used to watch Tom and Jerry. And they was just, every show. But he never got the mouse, did he? But that's what we do. We've been voting for 60 years. Name me one bill that was written for Black people. Obama could have did something. Oh yeah, but I forgot he couldn't because what's the excuse? I don't know. Pick one. I don't know what his excuse was. But my thing is, Trump is in there doing whatever the heck he wants to do, and he making it happen. Anytime he want to write one, he write one. Making executive orders and executive this and executive that and da da da, and we sitting up here looking crazy trying to vote when the electoral does that for you. They pick and choose. If not, Hillary would have been in there because that's who actually won last time, the last vote. But they said, nope, we're going to put Trump in there. Did they not? And we still think we have a choice. We still think that we have power. We still think they're going to let Black folk put somebody in office. Really? Oh, God. I don't know what it's going to take. But family, we know that we have some things that we need to do. Just like I keep bringing up this family, this 19 family members that bought 100 acres. You know how many Black folk, you know how many people that we can do that? We can do the same thing. But will we? No, we sitting up to wait and say, oh my God, remember in Black Wall Street, you remember what they did in Rosewood, remember what they did in Greenville, you remember what they did back in. What about you doing something different? Get your defense team together. You get somebody patrolling your land. Make your city into a town. You run for city council. You run for mayor of your own city, of your 100 acres. You police yourselves. You get some Black-owned businesses in there, and you only work with what's in your surrounding area. You don't integrate nothing. We don't need no outside Walmarts. We don't need no outside help. We don't need outside help from white folk. You integrate yourself. You not with yourself. Integrate yourself with yourself. And I mean Black folk with Black folk that have a like mind and a heart out. I'm not talking about with no Camerons, no Daniel Camerons. We don't want no Coons. We don't want no Al Sharptons. We don't want no Jesse Jackson. We want full-blooded Black first. That's who we want in our circle. And we have to learn how to recognize the B1s, and we have to recognize the Coons. House niggas. I did that show. The house niggas. Which one are you? House nigga, field nigga. You have to be able to distinguish which is which. But I'm gonna tell you what, Trump, if he do stay, he's going to do better for us than Biden because Trump is resetting the economy. Look at this. I'm gonna do a show on the Nasera Jacera. Has anybody heard of that? I want you to look that up, you guys. D, look that up. Nasera Jacera. It's Neseara, something like that. Nasera Jacera. I want you to look that up. And I need you to understand They're getting ready to reset the economy. And I hope you guys got your gold. No, silver. I hope you guys taking your money out the bank. I hope you guys are taking your 401k out. If you don't, you're going to lose it. I'm just saying. We're going to talk about that. I'm researching that now. But I want you to understand. I want us to understand, what does the benign neglect mean? Now, when they did this Kerner's report, that was when Lyndon Johnson was in office, and he had a partner, an assistant that did a report because they was having a lot of riots. Okay, people fail to realize right now what are the riots about? They're uprising. Why? Because of police brutality, right? Jobs, but it's more about police brutality. Why is it that the exact same thing that the Black Panthers was fighting in 63, we're fighting in 2020? Answer me that. Yes. Yes, you're right. Satir, you're right. A lot of what we doing. Oh, you suspended. Don't worry about it. I usually be suspended too, D. I'm surprised I'm still on there. I'm serious. For Facebook, I'm always, because they want to quiet you. They want to tell you what you can and can't say. You ain't gonna tell me what I can and can't say. I'm just saying. So yeah, I've been suspended from there for a minute, and then one time I was on there for 2 days and got suspended for 30 more days. So I guess the next time I get suspended, I'm gonna be off. But it don't matter. So what? Blog enough has that's Dr. Boyce's he's got one called blog enough. So you can join that one. Okay, BLOGGANEF, something like that. Blog enough. Okay. He talks about it all the time. But they did this was 50 years ago. They did a report, and they call it the Kerner's report. Okay, and this a report found it that the poverty, and they were talking about the poverty in in the neighborhoods and amongst Black folk. Okay, and the institutional racism that was driving inner city violence. Okay, and they was trying to understand what was the rioting, what was it all about, and they were saying, they came up with the conclusion it was all about racist white folk. White folk been racist against us for a long time. They never stopped. I just want you guys to know that. Some people say, well, what's going on now? They never stopped. It was always there. Trump just gave them a reason to relax and be real and to be true and to show you their true self. And I do believe that it has something to do with the end. And sometimes God wants to kind of kick you out of a place before he destroys it. And we so hard-headed, we won't even go. We're holding on to a country that's getting ready to be destroyed, that y'all wants to destroy. And the only reason why it's not destroyed is if we're still here. But my prayer is every day, wake us up, move us out. Wake us up, move us out. Go ahead and destroy. Let judgment come to America. That is really my prayer every day, every freaking day. Because they talked about President Lyndon Johnson's instituted the Kerner Report Commission to identify the greatest problem of the violent riots in 67 that took like 43 lives in Detroit, 22 in Newark, and other cities. It was other cities had killings too, but it was more of it that was in Detroit. They was trying to find out what is going on here, and it was mostly about the pent up anger that was boiling over in the Black community. Okay, during the late 60s, and they was trying to get to a point to understand what is going on. But what was happening when they was voting, and when they was like, in the midst before the trial, before they vote, they said, well, I promised to do this, and we promised to do this, and we promised to do that. They was promising Black folk a lot of stuff, but then they weren't doing it. So that's why they don't mention us at all. They say, well, we're going to do this for the minority, which they're not talking about you. They don't say Black. They're not talking about you. That's what Carl Anderson said. He said, if they don't mention BLACK, then they're not talking. You're never to assume who they're talking about. When they say minority, he said they could be talking about women. They could be talking about gays, lesbian. They could be talking about hunchbacks, one leg, one arm people. Those are minorities, right? If they don't say Black, that don't mean they talking about you. I'm just telling you. And that's what it was. And that's when they came up with the benign neglect. Stop offering them. Stop saying that you're going to do this for them and don't, because that's pissing them off. And that's what's causing them the riot. But when Lyndon Johnson saw the report, they ignored it. He said, I'm working on something over here myself. So the report came out and was telling him, okay, it was the police, they were battering, the police was battering, ransacking property, raging crowds, and they was harassing the neighbors, and the law enforcement would come in and they would be, so harsh, the same thing they doing now. Everything that was in this the Kenner's report, the Kerner's report is the same thing that's happening today. So guess what? If they had a taken care of it in the 60s, you wouldn't see what you see it now. But guess what? America has failed to recognize racism because they say it don't exist. Ain't that what Trump said? Trump said racism. What are you talking about? No, racism don't exist. I'm looking at him like, dummy, be black for one day and see. Because I'm gonna tell you what, my men, y'all men, my hat goes off to you. I don't know how y'all brothers do it. Y'all have rough, rough on these jobs. This is why I keep telling y'all, get your own crap and get it together. Don't train your sons up to work for white America. Do not train your sons to take your spot. You know you made a big boo-boo by working for America, by working for these crackers, because our men, I don't care what job you get, they are looking at you under a microscope. And if you make one mistake, them crackers can make 15,000 mistakes. They do not come to work. They can be come to work high, come to work drunk, come to work falling over, slugged, drunk. They can come to work any kind of way they can do their job. And guess what? They're going to stay. I got a supervisor, I don't know what she doing, because she'll look at me, Cassie, because I've been a supervisor before. So I'm here. This is what you need to do. Why am I training you? And I'm not even supervisor right now, but I'm training you. Why? Why am I telling you how to do your job? Why? I shouldn't have to do that. You should be trained enough, but because she's white, and I say so. That's all it is. She's white. We had a guy, a postmaster, that he had been there. He'd been carrying mail probably 6 months. Got to be a 204B. Did that for 2 months. Then he came a supervisor. Did that for maybe 6 months, and now he's postmaster because he's white, and I say so. I'm just saying, don't know what the heck he doing. Don't know, but they be faking it. But if you work there, you know who knows what. Okay, but they be faking and shaking. I mean, faking and shaking till they make it, and they doing. They can mess up and they can do whatever and nothing. But let a black man make one mistake. Let him come late. Let him not come. Let him do one thing and you out of there. I've seen it. Not with the post office. I'm just saying, amongst other jobs. But I'm gonna tell you what, my men, y'all, my kings. I'm telling you, my hat goes off to you. I salute you because I don't know how you guys have made it in this racist America. That's true. Racism has always been here and it's not going anywhere. You are the one that's going to have to get it together. Either you train your boys, we either train our sons to be business owners and start teaching them and showing them, just like I told my granddaughter the other day. I gave her money and I said, okay, I want you to put this up to your fund so that you can own your own business. I'm not trying to be here. I'm just saying, I want you to have your own business. This is what I'm teaching her. I don't. My granddaughter's 11, but I'm not even thinking America's going to be here or we're not going to be here. I do believe that within the next year or two, we're going to have to make an exit. I do believe in the great exodus, and you guys need to check that out. I do believe in that, and I do believe that we should start getting this ready for where we're going. And I don't see us being here 3 or 4 or 5 years. I don't. I really don't. I see stuff escalating fast. I don't know if you guys see what I see, but I see it's escalating. I mean, this thing is not like it's escalating. And if you are not ready, if you don't have your head on straight, you're gonna lose it. I've been getting you need to get your food, you need to get extra water. I'm telling you, you need to get an emergency kit. And I think I'm gonna go over that one day. But if I have somebody that's gonna hold the camera for me, but I need a stand. That's what I think I need. But I want to show you. That you have to order this stuff. You see those ads on Facebook where it talks about stelts, I think it is, and you can go through them and order your emergency kits and you have waterproof matches. You have a tent. You need a flashlight, waterproof everything. You need a tarp. You need they have a sleeping bag that's waterproof that keeps it's like a thermal sleeping bag. Stuff is not costing a whole lot of money, but every you pay, if you spend $50 here, $20 here, you can do it. You're gonna need like I'm trying to think of some other stuff that we need. Food. Don't forget your perishables. A lot of I have like a little portable oven. I have that. a little video thing. It's not that big, but it's got the pot, it's got the oven, it's got the tools that you cook with. I have that. Um, Extra water. Get as much water. You can get little jars, jugs of water for like 50, 60 cents at certain stores at Aldi's. Okay. Get your canned goods. You guys, I'm so serious. If you guys are not planning on fleeing, you guys have to have this stuff because if they come to your door and you might have to run and leave your house. These movies that they used to have on it was for a reason. That was telling you where we're going. You guys may not even believe this, but it's okay. You believe it or not. But I'm getting my stuff, so I'm just saying what I have. Now I can, I think like that. I think like I see these white dudes on there, and they, talking about this stuff, and they talking about getting the wilderness, and you have to understand what's coming. You think they're not gonna request that you get this vaccination? Are you guys ready to say no? Are you guys ready? What are you guys going to do if they come to your job and they tell you that you either got to take this vaccine or you're not going to have a job? And you ain't got no food stored up, you ain't got no water at your house, you ain't got no garden, you ain't got no seeds. Have you some seeds? So in case you need to plant some seeds, something to grow, even if you're in an apartment, you can have like a little pool. Remember one of them little pools? You can put some dirt in that and have it in your corner, and you could be put it by the window, and you can plant your own garden in your apartment. I'm telling you, don't tell me what you can't do. Black folk, if you want to live, you need to be doing some things now. Don't wait till the last minute. We always want white folk to cover us. These are your enemies. They're not trying to cover you. They're trying to kill you. We don't understand that. Yes, you have to do it for your family. Yes, you have to. Oh, Clay Higgins said that. Okay. But Clay is that, oh, that's the guy, that's the NFAC, the apology, the congressman, right? Okay. Okay. But see, we have to understand what's happening and what's going on. But if you looking at the wrong people, if you don't know who you are, you're not going to understand why things are going and happening the way they are. I can see it just as clear how the tides are turning slowly, but they're turning to a point that he said only my people will recognize and only recognize the signs of the times and what we're doing and what's happening. If you don't know who you are, I still see people. I was talking to a black guy the other day. He said, "Oh, I'm building me a house," and I'm like, "This ain't the time. This ain't." But is he gonna listen? No, this ain't the time to build your house here. This is the time for you to save your money and be trying to get your passport. Get your passport. I keep telling y'all black folk that. It should not be anybody on this live now that don't have your passport. If it is, shame on you. You better get your passport. Save $50 each pay to get your passport because it's gonna be $150. I'm just saying. It might be $100, just depending on if you have a picture. I had got my picture and I had to renew it, but this one I had to renew it. It didn't cost me as much to renew it, but it's going to cost you $150. If you have a picture, it'll cost you about $100, $110. But get your passport. Shame on you if you don't have your passport. I'm just saying, because it's not going to be good for 2/3 are going to die. And if they turn off your electric today, you have to have solar everything. I have a solar battery charger. I have a solar. I was even looking at walkie talkies for your children. You have to have a walkie-talkie that for or a meeting place for your children. If your children don't live in your house and your children, I have one daughter in Virginia and one another spot, and, but I've said, hey, this is what I need you to do. Meet me here. This is where we're gonna meet. We have walkie-talkies. You have to have walkie-talkies. Okay. You have to have some other type of communication besides cell phones. Because if these towers go down, how are you going to communicate with your family? You're not going to be able to have a meeting spot. Okay, I have a key here. We're going to meet here. I have you can go and meet at, just a, anywhere. You can meet anywhere. Have a meeting spot. This is where we're going to meet if something happens. Just like the kids, you have to understand, they're getting ready to send kids back to school. That's on purpose, right? It's on purpose. These kids now, this is the sad part about it because in Switzerland or Sweden, I know can't remember. The lady who was on online, and I think I mentioned to you about this before, and she said they're getting ready to zap the kids, and they were zapping them. But what they were going to do is zap them. The kids were going to fall out. They were going to come back too, and they was going to tell the parents, "Oh, your child has coronavirus." Okay, see that your child has corona, and they were going to say, "Okay, we're going to have to give your child the vaccine." And if you want your child back, you're going to have to take the vaccine. And that's what they were doing in Sweden. Now, I'm just saying, you guys don't think that vaccine is ready. They have the patent on coronavirus. I was told you I was watching The Walking Dead. I watched that because a lot of hidden messages is in The Walking Dead if you guys don't watch it. Fourth season, it was the fourth season, was it the fourth season 4, and it was like the second episode. They talked about the coronavirus in the episode. Fourth season was like what, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, or something like that. I'm just saying they have the patent on corona. You guys don't think these crackers ain't thought this stuff out. These devils is they have help. These are not average people that we're looking at. These white folk are demon children. Y'all don't believe me? The CERN. Remember the CERN? Pastor Darby talked about it. Who listens to Pastor Darby here? You better. Pastor Darby was talking about stuff that he was talking about 5 years ago. It's happening right now. That's how much revelation that dude had. It's happening now. CERN. It's happening now. Why do you think people acting so weird? Look up CERN. Y'all better wake up. Okay, so I'm probably 10 minutes behind. I'm hearing you talk about the girl who was hit by. Oh, wow, D. Yeah, I talked about that a while ago. Yeah, I'm homeschooling my 3 grandchildren and working on leaving my job next week. Awesome, Jazzy. Awesome, 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 awesome. And this is it. We have to be able to educate our own children. We have to be able to educate our own children. Jazz, if you want to, D, you can call me on the Blog Talk Radio and you can hear me, and I think you'll hear it'll be more clearer. And I'm gonna give you that number just in case you want to call me instead of watch it on YouTube. 563-999-3682. That's 563-999-3682. If you want to call me, I'm going to put it in the chat. If you want to call and listen to me on the air, you can call that number. And I think they'll let you, let me see, 563. I'm gonna put it in the chat. 999 3682. 3682. You can call that number and you'll be able to hear me on the phone, okay? Because you can go on Blog Talk and hear me on the phone. I'm trying to show you my phone, okay? You can hear me on the phone if you just dial that number, okay? But yeah, because I'm reading your comments and they are behind, but it's okay. It's okay, brother. We team working here. We team working. I hope I'm sounding okay and everybody can hear me what I'm saying. Um, but I do want to talk about this Kerner's report. But I do, it's so vitally important, family, because remember everything. And when you read this Nasara, that right there is what's happening now. Okay. It's talking about the reset. It's talking about the economy. Do you not know Disneyland just laid off what, thousands of people? Disneyland. Okay. You have to understand people are not going to these amusement park. The theater is going to be open Friday. I don't think I would touch it right now. I'm just, I'm just not, right. I'm just not. But they're doing this on purpose. It's almost like you putting sick folk with well folk, trying to get people contaminated. So they're trying to make you, force you to want this vaccine. I'm just saying. But you have to take your zinc. You still have to take your immune booster. Give your child the vitamin C. Give them every night. Every other night. You give them the lemon tea and honey. Okay, the lemon honey. I boil me a lemon. Put a little honey in it, and I drink it. Okay, so that'll keep you clear also, and that's keeping away the virus. Because we really don't know yay or nay or what's really going on with it. So you just have to act like because they lie so much about in this country. You don't know what's what. Everybody, all them thousands and millions of people ain't dying from corona. You mean I ain't heard nobody dying from cancer? I ain't heard nobody dying from heart attack. I ain't heard nobody dying from heart failure. I ain't heard nobody dying from nothing but corona. You mean tell me all that other stuff is you ain't dying from that no more? Whatever. I don't believe a lot of this stuff. So my thing is, we have to get our mindset to leaving. Okay. And I think I've talked about this once before. Black family, you have to get your mindset right, because right now, um, they ain't playing with us. They're not playing with you. They want you dead. And like I said, get your passport. And I at least want you guys to visit Africa. I do at least want you guys to visit. Now, this Kerner's report, this is a letter that President, his assistant wrote to Nixon, okay? And this was in the 70s because Lyndon Johnson, he kind of refused to even do it. So the assistant came back and Nixon gave it to President Nixon, and he was talking about the memorandum, and he was talking about what was going on, and how the new year began, and how he was talking about the position of the Negroes at the end of the first year of our administration. I'm gonna read just a little bit. It's like 10 pages. I'm not gonna read all. I'm just trying to take. I wish I had a copy of the paper with me. That way I could have kind of written on it, but I'm going on it, and I want you guys to listen to the same stuff, you guys, that was going on then is going on now. But this is how important we're not. You have to understand, people, to benign neglect means we're gonna just ignore black folk, period. We're not even going to acknowledge, we're not going to even acknowledge the police brutality. We're not even going to act like it's we're gonna just ignore it, because you'll make a comment to the white folks. Sometimes they make some stupid comment, and you'll comment back. I had a guy that came on my page and was talking about Brianna. She was a drug dealer, and she was a drug dealer, and her boyfriend was a no she oh, he was a drug dealer, he said. And I said, no. And then they said Brianna chose her own death because of the people she had around her. I said, no. I said, we're not going to blame this young woman. We're not going to blame her death on her. We're going to blame her death on who caused it. And it's three officers who caused it because they didn't do their job. And who didn't protect her? Cameron, because he should have did his job. So God gave him a chance to do it, but he took the covers off of Cameron. But my thing is, you can't blame a young woman who was, she's young, she was a baby, she's 26. Okay. I'm sure she didn't make all the perfect things, didn't do everything right, but did we when you were 26? I remember some things I did, I should have been dead. I'm just saying. But we're not gonna, no, we're not gonna let them blame. We're not gonna let three hoodlums that didn't do their job, hoodlums that should have verified some things. We're gonna blame the judge that gave them that no knock warrant. We're gonna blame them because they didn't identify themselves. Because if you was coming in my house at 1 o'clock in the morning, probably same thing. But I would have got me a headshot. I would have made sure it didn't go into the floor. If I'm gonna go to jail, it's gonna be for me murdering you and not just me shooting the floor. I'm just saying, at 1 o'clock in the morning, knock you ramming somebody's front door. They probably thought it was burglars. Why would he get on the phone and call 911? That's what I keep telling this. I was trying to tell this young man. No, he really didn't know. He really didn't know. He nobody ID'd themselves. And even the witnesses said that. And the first witness that changed his mind said that when he first asked him. But I guarantee you, they offered that Negro something because he was black. Find out the witness that changed his statement. He was black, and he probably had a felony. And they said, "Hey, if you don't change your mind, we're going to bring these charges up on your behind." And he said, "Whoa, she dead. I'm here." Yeah, I heard the knock. I heard you announce yourself. He probably couldn't get it out his mouth right. But they said, oh, that's the one witness that we had that said, oh, yeah, we heard them. They announced themselves. But they didn't, because if you have a no knock warrant, who's going to announce themselves when you don't have to? And they didn't. So, yes, I believe Kenneth. I believe him wholeheartedly. But that joker that got them killed, that agreed that they did knock. But I'm so glad for that witness that came forth and said, no, they didn't. No, they didn't get he didn't Cameron didn't give us the opportunity to prosecute or to um decide if the officers were to go to jail or not, or to be tried or arrested or not. He didn't even present any information to the jury, to the grand jury. He brought it upon himself to say, no, we're not going to face charges because he shot first. Well, guess what? He shot because why? You came in his house unannounced at 1 o'clock in the freaking morning. So you wouldn't shoot, Cameron. Tell me, Daniel Cameron, would you shoot if somebody was coming in your house at 1 o'clock in the morning? I will. Septi, I'm sure you will too. Jazzy, you will too. D, I'm just saying, it's not going to be anybody in this earth that's not going to shoot an intruder that you think is coming in your house or breaking in because you have no idea that there's some police, because you ain't done nothing. If you living a life and you just kicking it with your man, and you laying up and y'all watching TV or whatever, they said she was asleep. But whatever it was, nobody had a right. And then I seen another one where they came in a dorm room of a young girl, and they had guns drawn on her. Oh, we can do. See, once we allow one of these to get through, they started it with Botham Jean. Remember, they started coming in our apartments. That was the first case that they came into our homes and killed that young man. And the family got zero. They got no money, none. That's where that started. They said, oh, we don't have to prosecute. She gave her 10 years. She probably would come out in 5. But still, that's where it started. So now you can come in our houses now. And then Brianna is next. No, Artiana, remember her? The wellness check, the police officer went to her back window. That was the second case. And the third case now is Brianna. So now, and four cases. And then you just had the young woman in the dorm room that they came in with guns drawn because her room, a person in her dorm said, put a loud, a white girl in her dorm, put a loud. And they knew if all we have to do is say they black and the police is coming, gun blazing. But I'm gonna tell you what, if that had been my daughter, she'd have got anything but happen. I'm see, we have to get to the point, you guys, where we're not just allowing crazy. We're not gonna allow stuff to happen to our children and we not do nothing. We gotta already have it in our mind. Something happened to mine, something gonna happen to yours. I'm just saying, I'm not one of them. Well, I forgive. I ain't forgiving nothing. I'm gonna forgive when you just the same way you what you did to mine, it happens to you, then I forgive. I'm good. Seriously, I'm tired of this. That's why I got to go. I can't take this no more. I'm sorry, I can't take it. I'm just saying. We didn't put up with too much. We have put up with too much. I'm telling you because when I look at people talking about the riots, you guys, you're tearing up your own. We ain't owning none of that stuff. Tear it, burn it down, tear it up. This is a changing of the gods. It's almost like God is pulling the system down. He's ripping it and he's burning it to pieces so it can be rebuilt. But you guys have to understand that he's destroying it slowly but surely. It's coming down, you guys. It's coming down. So let me just tell you one, guys. If you have it in your heart to move to Africa or to go visit, the tickets are really super cheap. Last time I checked, they were like $650. I have not checked recently, but go visit. Don't do yourself an injustice by not visiting. Too much, too long. That's right, Jazzy. I believe in an eye for eye. I'm sorry. Because guess what? If we could go and have the same opportunity and we could call the police and get somebody arrested for doing some hurt to us, then we call them. But we know that we cannot call. We did a show last week. Stop calling 911. That's not an option for us. We have to be able to handle it. We have to be able to call our own defense team. We have to have a defense team. We have to have our own defense team, you guys, in order to protect ourselves. Seriously. But this form, just like this report that Lyndon Johnson ignored, Richard Nixon ignored, and Reagan ignored it. You had a Democrat and two Republicans that ignored this. So you tell me it's okay for me to vote Republican or Democrat, and neither one could take this report and do something with it and say, hey, we have a report. Let me look at this report. That's just common knowledge. We have a report, the Kerner's report. That's what it's called. Let me look at the Kerner's report. They already did the footwork. All you have to do is look at it and implement it. Implement it. Talked about employment, income tax. It talked about let me see what it say about the I'm gonna see if I can pull out something. Um they saw in 1960, they saw the greatest breakthrough for the blacks, uh a third, which is 32% of all families of Negroes and other races earned $800 a month. That was good back in the day, okay? And then in 68, compared in consistent dollars with 15% in the 60s, okay? Now they talking about the South still had problems. The South will always have problems. That's just what it is. The South gonna always have problems because they got so many rednecks down there. I'm serious. Um, How do you know, Jazzy? Buy them tickets because my husband said he don't want to go either, but I'm gonna buy him a ticket, and when I go, he's going to visit. My husband's gonna follow me anywhere in the world that his wife wants to go. Women, we as women have, well, I can't say that, but we as women have power. You know that. So my thing is, I said, honey, at least visit. You need to find out why I want to go. Okay. So we talk, he sees stuff, but I'm just trusting that when he gets there, he's going to feel it. He's going to, when your feet hit that ground over there, you buy your wife a ticket, you buy your family a ticket. This is your ticket from me to you, and we just going to visit because we have to get out of here. They have, let me just tell you what's in Africa. Let me just help you to understand something. They have thousands of languages. This is how they did black folk. They had thousands of languages. The colonizers have colonized Africa, and they're teaching them the British educational system, which makes the white folk so much bigger, and we're better, and we're the queens, and we're the kings, and We're so much better than you, bull crap. But this is what they're teaching our brother and sister. They've divided the languages up so bad that if I'm from Sudan, the south side of Sudan, and you got somebody else from another side of Sudan, they can't even communicate to each other. That's how crazy it is. So divide and conquer. So I have so many thousands of tribes, but every tribe speaks a different language. When I go to Africa, I have to get on there and request a visa. I'm going to Tanzania, so I got to request a visa. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. That I got to request a visa to be able to go to Tanzania. Then when I get to Tanzania, if I want to go to Kenya, which is right next door, I have to get another visa to go to Kenya. Then if I want to go to Mozambique, I have to request another visa. Then if I want to go to Zambia, I have to request another visa, which should not be. If it's all Africa, why do I need 15 freaking different visas in order to go? Because that stops people from wanting to go because they have to wait so long to get your visa. So by the time you apply for one visa, you apply for the next visa, the first visa expire. But if I go to Tanzania, and then I get to Africa and I go to Kenya, I can get a visa that same day. Then I go to the next place, I can get a visa that same day. You see what I'm saying? But if I sit here and I try to get 5 different visas, by the time I get the 5 different visas, the first one is expired. So what we have to do is go and visit because they have divided that land up so bad. You have so many, they go by not color, but they go by tribes. They have them fighting over which tribe. Nigeria is better than Kenya, or Kenya is better than Tanzania. You're all black. What's the difference? You're all freaking black. There's no difference. If they look at me and they look at you, they're not going to know if I'm African or African American because we both look black. They're not going to know the difference because we black. Unless I start talking, then they'd be like, oh, that's African American. That's the one that speaks Swahili. Okay, I'm learning Swahili now. Okay, Ziku Sawiki. Okay, means the day of a week. I'm learning it. I've got my days of the week. I'm getting there. But I wanted to at least know some parts of the language. And African Tigress, I watch her a lot on her show a lot also. She's been teaching me Swahili. Okay, I do pay her, I get her, it's a monthly fee or whatever. I give her a little bit, a little donation every month. So I'm in her class, her Swahili class. So if you want to learn Swahili, African Tigress is the one to teach you. And it's, I just give a donation and I'm in her Swahili class. Okay. But I'm still on days a week. So I'm taking it slow because I want to learn it. I'm getting it. I'm learning it. I'm not memorizing it. Okay. So, but I just want you to get it to family. We got to change this here because you can own land for $500. I'm just saying you can own properties for my friend. He has two, 250 and 250 and 200 for an apartment that he's renting out. I just seen Guyana has beautiful luxury apartments. One was for a 1 bedroom was for 27,000, and 2 bedroom was 37,000, and 4 bedroom was 47,000. Okay, no, 3 bedroom was 47,000. 2 bedroom was 37, and then the 1 bedroom was 27. Okay, so that start thinking about, and they're allowing you to like put down payments on it, so you can pay on it, so you don't have to have 37,000 or 27,000 right now. Eventually, you will. But just think if you come up and you have maybe $1,000 that you could put down just for down payment, and then maybe next pay say, okay, I'm gonna put $200 here, I'm gonna put another $50 here. You can pay on it, okay? Pay on it as you go, okay? So that is a blessing right there. And then the Gambia, Blackset, BLAX hyphen or space IT, she has a show, and they are helping people to get there. If you say, for instance, you don't have money, um, they're helping you to get there. But you have my thing, family. I would not go if I didn't have a business already started, or you have a little money set aside. Say, for instance, you have about $100,000 saved in your retirement. Okay, you can do that'll take you. You can do very well. What about if you have $40 and you can learn a trade or start a business over there? Say, for instance, one guy told me a laundromat was needed in Kenya. He said you can rent a building for $200 and have a laundromat. I'm just saying these are businesses that you will start for $200. This is what they're doing. I'm just saying, family, even if you got one and you can rent the dryers. It's a place in, I think he said UK, where you can rent the dryers. What did he say, UK? I think he said UK. That you can rent the dryers. Okay, rent a dryer and a washer. If you have two, that's a start. And then you pay them, keep paying, save your monies and get one more, get two more. I'm just saying, family, we got to think of how we can do this. We can do this. But a lot of people say, I ain't going to Africa, it's too many Chinese. Okay, you stay here, you're dying. So what's the choice? And a lot of places in Africa, they're not overwhelmed. It's just like South Africa is not. I'm not a place I'm going to touch because I don't want to see white folk. I can stay in America for that. And South Africa is ridiculous. I would never go to South Africa. Too many white folk for me. I'm just saying. But they said South Africa is a place where a lot of Chinese are. But you also have to understand you have some in Kenya. But I'm not. I'm gonna go to Kenya, but certain areas they have Chinese. I'm not going there to look at the Chinese. I am going to places where it's not too many Chinese at. Okay, so I'm just saying, but I do believe that we have to get there. We have to be there, and we have to help them to understand that these white folk ain't your friends. But that's all they know. They don't know any better. But once you see and you talk and tell them, and we open up schools, $5,000 will open you up a school, you guys. I'm just saying these are things, and you can hook it up to an orphanage, and these will be your clients. Okay, the state government will pay you money to hook up a school against an orphanage, and you could be teaching these babies, and you could change this. I'm just saying, family, so many things that we can do. Okay, I should get paid for all this free information that I'm getting out. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's talk about the um and then they also talked about how the young Negro families are achieving income uh, parity with young white families. Okay. Outside the South, of course, they always say outside the South, the young husband, wife, Negro families have 99% the income of whites. Okay. They was talking about the employment, the income of the black families in 1960. Um, for families headed by male ages 25 to 34, the proportion was 87%. Um, they said this is an ancient gap that is finally closing. Let me get my charger here. Let me see. Income also reflects. Let me see what else is reflecting. I mean, it talks a lot. It's a lot. I'm not going to read everything, but I'm going to see. Then he talked about the jobs improved drastically. Okay. Um, the number of professionals and technical employees doubled in the period of 1960 through 68. Okay. This was 2.5 times the increase for whites. In 69, Negroes and other races provided 10% of the other than college teachers. Okay. So they was talking about education. They was talking about other jobs percentages. 19% in 68 um, of Negro children 3 and 4 years old were enrolled in school. I mean, this is just stuff that they was talking about, and they was trying to see how they can improve the relations between the blacks and the whites. And they was talking about more jobs. Let's give them more jobs. But I would say give us more of our own businesses. Now they don't want to do that. But my thing is right now it's separate but equal, separate but equal. But back then they were saying it was separate, but it was unequal. It was separate, but it was terrible. But people fail to realize if black folk had stayed by themselves, they could have invested in their own schools, invested just like they did in Black Wall Street, and they would have had several different Black Wall Streets. But you had to have your own defense team, and that's what they didn't do. They didn't bother having their own defense team. Okay. Um, then they talked about the female heads of households, okay, which is sad, but you have to understand we got there. We didn't get there by ourselves. It was set up. Well, remember, drugs was placed in our neighborhoods. Then our men jobs were taken away, so we were kind of set up, right? We didn't understand the impact of being single family moms, okay, single families, what that impact was going to be today, okay, which has a huge impact. But it can be, but see, that is something, family, that can be corrected, but we have to do it. We can't wait for other people to do it. We see things in our community that need to be improved on, that need to be fixed, and we won't do it. We'll just keep blaming white folk for them. No, you see, there's a disparity. We start teaching our own children. We start teaching them about family. We start teaching them about owning your own businesses. We start teaching them and introducing them to black folk that have their own businesses. We can turn this thing around. We can do this, but we are lazy. I'm not even gonna say that. No, I'm not gonna put that on us. We're not lazy. It's just the lack of knowledge. How about that? It's the lack of knowledge. We don't understand. We know things need to change, but we don't know exactly what. Yes, Most High is willing because that's where you're going to be, Jazzy. Yes, Most High is willing. So, and that's really where he and I know a lot of black folk that's having a pulling, and I've been listening to Toe Ministries, okay, TOEW Ministries. They've been talking, interviewing different people that have made their way back to Tanzania and back to Africa, back to Ghana, and and people, they're feeling that yearn. And I do believe that I want to have property. So if anybody wants to move and relocate back to Africa, they'll have somewhere to go. So that's why I'm going to get the properties. I'm going to get some properties. So I'll have one in Kenya, one in Tanzania, Ghana. I want to check out Uganda. I've seen a guy, Uganda, he has his own business, and he was saying how much is needed there too for us to get our own business. You guys don't understand how cheap it is for us to own our own business there. It's nothing like America. I'm telling you, you guys, I mean, when you get there, if you guys ever go, you guys are going to be so mad at yourself for not leaving sooner. I've heard so many people say that, say, man, I wish I had left sooner, and they didn't. I'm just saying. I don't want you guys to regret it, but I do know and understand that Black folk have to have a mind change. Okay, let's talk about the female heads of family. This problem does not get better. Okay, and it didn't get better for us. Okay, it's gotten worse. In 69, I don't know why I say 96, 69, the proportion of husbands, wives, families, and Negroes and other races declined. Why? Because they put drugs in our neighborhood and they took the wives, the husband's job, and they offered us trinkets as far as welfare, right? And we were, the only way was to have the welfare is that we had to put our men out, right? But other cultures didn't have to do that. Other cultures, the immigrants are allowed to come here and keep and hold their husbands. They're allowed to keep their families together because they knew the damages and the dangers of putting the families, the men outside the home with those boys. Our boys need our men, right? They knew the dangers because they did the research, but we didn't understand. So we thought, okay, well, let me put my husband out, get this welfare. We'll still let them come in and out. But that was the worst thing. We should have hung together, stuck together, and said, baby, I got this. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna do this. We're gonna, open up our own car, whatever. I'm gonna, start going out here and cutting on some grass. I would have kind of created me some extra income. That's what I would have did back in the day. I'm just saying. That's just my brain. My brain is just not the same. I ain't got the same kind of brain y'all got. I'm just saying. Okay. Also, they said 67% Negroes and other races declined once again, this time to 67%. The legitimacy ratio rose once again, this time 27% of all live births. Okay, the white ratio rose more sharply, but was still only 4.9. Okay, increasingly, the problems of Negro poverty is the problem of the female headed families. Okay, and 68, 5% of Negro families with income under 3,000 were female headed, okay, households. And 68, for the first time, the number of poor Negro children in female headed households was 2,000. Oh my God. Wait a minute, hold on. The first time, yeah, it was about 2,000. That's crazy. Was greater than the number of the males headed household, which was 1,000. Wow, this they knew what they was doing. That's all I'm gonna say. Society, philosophy. I'm gonna see what in here I want to read. What's is it important here? Then they talked about the crime. Okay, that's under the social pathology, social pathology. Okay, it talked about the crime and why. Um, he wanted to talk about the origins and exactly the same social circumstances. Um, talked about fire. He said, unless I mistake the trends, we are heading for a genuinely serious fire problem in America's cities. The New York, for example, between 56 and 69, the overall fire alarms rate more than tripled. Okay, I don't know what he's talking about the fire alarms for. These alarms were concentrated in slum areas, okay, primarily Black areas. 68, one slum area had an alarm. Right, okay, you talked about fire alarms. That's not even important. Um, social alienations. Um, they talked about it being a great deal of crime in our neighborhoods, but sometimes the way they look at stuff and the way we look at stuff is totally different. You know what I'm saying? Somebody has said something about crime in our neighborhoods. And I said, oh, talked about black on black crime. I said, well, hold on. You have white on white crime. You have Asian on Asian crime. You have, because we live amongst each other, of course, it's going to be black on black crime. What else? White on white crime. You got those white boys, thug boys shooting up schools, right? Okay. You have the Asians, they kill each other, they commit crimes against each other. But guess what? The Asians, they have those mafias, so they handle their own stuff, right? They police themselves. That's what we have to do. We have to learn from other cultures how they're doing stuff, and we have to adopt their ways. Not that we don't know, but a lot of stuff relating to us was stolen from us by white folk in slavery. So we don't know a lot of stuff, but we can watch other people and see how they, like the Jews, we can watch them to see how did they get out the rut, and we can follow suit. But we so busy waiting on Biden to free us. We're gonna wait for Biden and Trump to free us. Okay, let me see. And I asked somebody, I said, okay, what if that doesn't work? What are you gonna do then? What if we vote for Biden and nothing changes? Then will you stop voting? Then will you start voting locally? Then will you start doing for self? I don't know if that's, is that gonna help? Probably not, but I'm just saying. They talked about hatred, revenge against whites is now an acceptable excuse for doing what might have been done anyway. Okay, this is the bad news for any society, especially when it takes forms which the Black Panthers seem to adopt it. Oh my God, they talking about the Black Panthers when those dudes was talking about breakfast. They was talking about the same thing that this report was talking about. The Black Panthers was talking about what's equality, education, lunches, breakfasts for students. They was talking about police brutality. They was talking about poverty. They was talking about jobs. They was talking about housing. The same thing you have in this report was what the Black Panthers was talking about. Oh my God, these crowds just don't. Ooh, they just got my nerves. Oh my Lord, please help me. Um, let's talk about, okay, the administration, the Nixon administration, as you have candidly acknowledged, the relations of the administration to the Black population is a problem. I think it's all also to be acknowledged that we are very a long way from solving it. Okay, now this was in the 60s, still not solved. Okay, now it says during the past year, intense efforts have been made by the administration to develop problem programs that will be of help to the Blacks. I dare say, as much as more time and attention goes into the efforts to the administration than in any history. Then he began to say, I don't know what you can do about this, perhaps nothing, but I do have four suggestions. And he went on to suggest things that could be done in the Black community. But guess what? Again, Nixon, he didn't care. He was like, whatever. Okay. Just like Lyndon Johnson didn't listen, still had the same program. Then the guy brought it up to Nixon, and Nixon ignored it. Reagan ignored it. Clinton ignored it. It just Bush ignored it. It just went, and now we're still facing the same stuff that could have been fixed years ago. Why not just fix stuff? Why is it that America does not acknowledge that they have a problem? Oh God. Let me see. Yes, they did. Jazzy, they did. They already, what you say, they have already studied Black people and plan 100 years ahead. Yes, they have. Yes. You know what, Shaptia, the mistrust among us, we have to get to the place where we're understanding who our enemies are. Once you understand your enemies, you'll understand. Hold on, I'm sorry. Once you understand that we are all we got and that nobody else has your back, like we'll have each other's back. Once we get back on code and start educating our own children and to teach them a code of behavior, we teach them about heritage and culture, then and only then will it change. And even now in churches, they could start teaching a code of behavior in churches. I had a young man, I was on Facebook and I had put up a post and the young man said something. He was kind of defending me a little bit. And then a young white boy came on in and started saying stuff. And of course, I said what I need to say to him. And then the black man turned against me. And I was like, dude, you're off code. I did. I told him, I said, dude, you're off code. He goes, what do you mean? You don't know? Then I don't even need to tell you. If you cannot recognize being off code, this is an older man too. And I'm like, you seriously don't know that you're off code? I was like, wow, this is so crazy. But we weren't taught. What does it mean to be off code? It means you're not supporting your own. You don't go against me for him. You don't go against me, and I'm taking up for you for him. Are you serious? That's not what we do. And even if I say stuff on Facebook, you always have one black person that'll come up there and say, was trying to tell me about buck breaking. And I said, honey, that happened back in slavery. And she said, well, if it happened back in slavery, da 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 da. And I seen her logo had a Trump logo. And I said, okay, I understand why you're saying what you're saying. I understand why you think what you think. I said, because of the brainwashing company that you keep. I do. I said, I'm not going to argue with you. I won't ever go against my sister. I said, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue the points back and forth with you because I'm not going to do that. You are my sister. And this is something that we have to say. This is something we have to teach each other to be on code. And when we're off code, you have to say it. And you have to show them and tell them, what does it mean to be off code? That means that you're supporting the enemy and you're going against your own. And that's a no-no. That's treason in the Black community. Okay. Um, in Blacks in our culture, that's true. We can do mistrust among, okay, runs deep. We can say and teach this, but there are enough of us doing this. It doesn't matter if you start somewhere. It's almost like fire, and it'll spread. You start teaching your babies how to honor yourselves and how proud it is. You remember when James Brown and our musical artists, and they can start singing. But let me just tell you what happened there with your artist, which makes me so mad because you have like a Nick Cannon. He said, and he even told them that he made them $1 billion, right? That pisses me off because, bruh, you could have made that for yourself and you could have increased your net worth. You made that for Black, whatever TV program that was he was working for. He didn't do it for himself. He made it for them, right? Why would he take that money and make it for himself and become free of them, independent of their music, and you do your own music, you produce your own music, and you produce it for the other Black artists, and they come over there and give you what's needed, and you get their music out. You understand what I'm saying? There's certain things that we could have done that because they were taking care of us, we thought it was okay, and we allowed them to take care of us. Then you got to the point where you couldn't say what you want to say. You couldn't think how you want to think. You couldn't speak the way you want to speak. You couldn't sing your music the way you wanted to sing it. You had to be more vulgar with your music. You had to do this, that, and the other, and you couldn't be yourself. But if you had have been hooked up with your own and hooked up and doing it with your own self instead of you selling out to white folk, we'd have been so much further. But they didn't understand what the white folk were doing. If I bread your butter and get you hooked on my bread, of me breading your butter, then guess what? You're gonna continue on, especially if I make you comfortable and I don't make you work hard and I just give it to you. But I'm doing all the work. But I'm only doing the work to keep you comfortable. But then as soon as you get, and I know that I've taken you the control away from you, then as soon as you act up over here, I got you. That's what ends up happening. We have to understand how these folks think. We don't think we don't understand how they think. Come on, you guys. We got to understand this. Okay, let me finish my little thing. I mean, this thing, I want you guys to pull up this thing. It's a Kerner's report. I'm not going to read it. I'm on page like 7. Okay, but I was going over the steps real quick. First step, sometimes early in the year, I would gather together the administration officials who are most involved with the matters and talk out the subject a bit. They rely on a need for a more coherent administrative approach to the number of issues. And he listed the numbers of issues, and he's talking about what can be done in the Black community to bring us together because they saw the separation. He saw the separation, but he said you're going to have a black and white issue, which is what we have now because it was never taken care of. Okay, the second, he came up with the issues of race could benefit from a period of benign neglect. Okay. The subject has been too much talked about. The form has been too much taken over to paranoid and bottles on all sides. We may need a period in which Negro progress continues and radically fades. Okay, the administration can help bring this about by paying close attention to such progress as we are doing while seeking to avoid situations in which extremists or other either race are given opportunities for martyrdom, heroism, or whatever. Greater attention to Indians, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans would be useful. You understand what they're saying? We're going to ignore the black folk, and we're when you see problems, we're going to ignore it because they saying, oh, it'll go away, but we're going to give more attention to the Mexicans, the Indians, and the Puerto Ricans. This is what they said. Okay, the Panthers were apparently almost defunct until the Chicago police raided one of their headquarters and transformed them into cultural heroes for the white, the black, the middle class. Okay, you perhaps did not note on the society page of yesterday's Times, and they're talking about they made the headlines to ignore them, don't give them any attention, and we won't make heroes out of them. We'll ignore their needs, and we're gonna just keep our attention on other folks, other groups. Okay. Um, let me see. Oh my God, this is really good. And then he said, we really ought to be getting on with research on crime. Okay. We just don't know enough. It's a year now since the administration came to the office. But frankly, in this year, I don't see that we have advanced either our understanding of the problem or that of the public at large. Okay. So they're trying to learn us. Okay. Let's see what causes crime. What's activating it? What's really the behind the crime? That's what they're trying to say. At the risk of indiscretion, may I put at a pitted that lawyers are not professionally well equipped to do much to prevent crime. Okay, but he said we are never going to learn about crime in a laboratory. Okay, but we also must certainly could profit from limited, carefully done studies. Okay, they wanted to get in there and study us. Okay, and this is why they putting all this money, behind like the African boys. I think Vicky Diller was talking about how they have research in the Africans, trying to understand how are they Mandingos and how are they, so tough, and how are they, just how I guess how they can turn them gay like they're doing our men here in America. And then they talked about there's a silent black majority as well as the white ones, the mostly working class, and as against lower middle class. Okay, talking about the black folks. Okay, you got the house Negroes and the field Negroes. This is what they talking about. Okay, most of the concern of its white counterparts. This group has been generally ignored by the government and the media. Talking about the lower class. Okay, the more recognition we give it, the better off it will be. I would take it, for example, the ambassador of Holland is the natural leader of the segments of the Black community. This thing is, I mean, this thing is like, oh my God, this thing is crazy. You guys really need to pick it up because I'm hitting little points, but I'm sure it's so much more that I'm missing. Let me see if I can come up with a logical. And they also wanted to the certain types of behavior, like urban populations simply are not things lawyers think about often. Okay, for instance, what kind of crimes and why we do the crimes and what's leading us to the crimes. They wanted to always, they wanted to have more research on that. Okay, and they go into more details, but I really want you guys to. I just wanted to kind of introduce you to the Kerner's report to help you to understand more about what the thinking was as far as the government, your government, back in the day. Okay, it was nothing good when it came to us. And Nixon and Reagan, they were the most racist ever. Okay, so that shows you what we was dealing with, and even now the Republicans have never been for us. Okay, the only Republican that was for us was the Kennedys, and that's the Republican. The Democrat, I'm sorry, not the Republican. Kennedy was a Democrat, but you do know that at first, Martin Luther King was the Republican. I don't know what he was following, but then what happened was the Kennedys came and got him out of jail. They saw how they was treating Martin. They got him out of jail, so he turned and started voting Democrat. Okay, that's how black folk became Democrats all of a sudden. But we have to understand what's really going on, you guys. We have to get the picture of why the benign neglect. Okay, because they would make promises to us and they wouldn't keep it. So black folk were just hitting the roof because we was like, hold on, you said you were doing this, and you didn't do this, and this. So it was a big mess. But I am just I just want you guys to think about everything that we've talked about. Um, I want you guys to pull up the Kerner's report just so you can read it for yourself. But we are going to talk about the Nasera Jacera. Okay. I think next either Tuesday or next Thursday, because I really want us to, and it'll help you to understand what's going on right now with your economy, okay, and why things are the way they are and what we need to do about it. The politicians right now just don't know what to do about the black community. They don't know. They know what they need to do, but they don't want to do it. They know that they owe us reparations, but they don't want to give it to us. But y'all said we're gonna come out with great substance, and what the great substance is, we're just not owed by America. We are owed by the Jews. We are owed by the Arabs. We are owed by America. We're owed by the Britons. We're owed by the Spain. We're owed by the Portuguese. We are owed by a lot of people, not just America. So that's your great wealth right there. That's your great wealth that we're gonna come out, because y'all said we're gonna come out with great wealth. But that's how we're gonna do it. And they also said in the report that two cities um, will have a black majority by the year of 1985, and they said the suburbs will remain largely white, while they're inner cities we're going to be mostly all black. And it's really true. I mean, you can look around now and see that a lot of what they said is actually true now. Okay, so don't think that they still not studying now. They really studying you now. And they're looking, I mean, doing a lot, because when they can actually kill your child and you do nothing about it, and you apologize and you tell them, I forgive you, and you darn near apologize for it, you think they're not studying that? They're looking at us like, seeing how much they're gonna take, how much more they're gonna take. We can do whatever we want because they're not doing anything. We can do whatever we want. We can say whatever we want, and we don't have to hold up the law, because what are they gonna do about it? And they're literally doing stuff in your face now, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing that you can do about it. Okay, the bad policing practices, it was then too. Okay, and it's here, and it's still here. Black unrest is across the world now. They see it. It was the same way back then. So the same thing that we saw them fighting for then, they was fighting for it now. The same exact thing. Okay. But they know that it's increasing. They see it now. They see it, but it's nothing that they want to do about it, because they say in benign neglect, we're gonna keep on ignoring them. Why do you think they don't mention you on the debates? Why do you think they don't mention the black issues, the police brutality? They're not gonna give it any attention because the report says not to. So they're gonna ignore it because they can, and because you can't do anything about it if they continue ignoring it. What you gonna do about it? Systematical racism. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. Nothing's changed. We're still rioting. Housing projects, welfare, still the same. Urban renewal programs. Um, the state takes over the schools. Failure to report lack of money. I mean, this is the same thing. But it goes on from generation to generation. But if you don't know your history, corrections, yes, yes. And I was even talking to a young lady, and I said, she was saying, well, black folk now can do what they want to do, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, have you seen black folks still aren't free, sweetheart? I don't know why people think we're free. We're not free. Look at your prison system. My husband was driving down the highway today, and we seen a whole lot of, they got the chain gangs. Black folks cleaning up the highways. No whites, not one. But my thing is, why is it that you can give them a job to work for free, but then when they come out, you can't give them a job? Does that make sense? Because you privatize the prisons. That was the worst thing we could have did, was privatize the prisons. But your Biden did that. Remember, Biden did that. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And then also they wanted the states to take over the schools. Okay, um, in a lot of even in the ghettos, a lot of whites because when we integrated, we lost a lot of our schools. So a lot of white folk didn't want to go and teach in those schools in the ghettos, okay? And a lot of black folk didn't want to go to the new white schools because they weren't treated as equal. But then when they start shutting down our schools because they said, okay, these dummies gonna come upon us and let us teach their children. Let's shut them schools down. Let's bring them over here and we're gonna teach them what we want them to know. Okay, we're gonna teach them how to think. That's why we act the way we acted, because we came up under them and we allowed our enemies to teach our children. That right there needs to change. We're changing it. Now we're beginning to educate our own children. That's changing now. But look at the damage. We've been under them since what, 70s? I'm just saying. That's a lot. That's a long time to generations. Okay. So you do have some candidates that think the way they think because they're in all white schools. And they thinking the white folks, you looking and they got it so good, and you thinking, man, they sure do have it good. Maybe I can get in one of them and I can have as good as them. And sometimes you do. Look at John Lewis. Look at Elijah Cummings. Look at Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. They got it real good. Karen Bass, who's the head of the Black Caucus, was a Black Panthers. Did you guys know that? But she won't do anything for Black people. She got in there and got brainwashed. They said, okay, we're going to give you this amount of money, but you got to do it our way. Well, hey, I'm going to be taken care of. I'm going to be the Black Caucus. I'm going to be in Congress. Da, 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 da. You're going to take care of me. You're going to make sure you're going to back me. You're going to give up and give me all this money. I'm good. Why would I fight against that? If we're not offering her anything to change. We're not offering our leaders anything to change to work for us. So why would they work for us? Who's paying them? White folk paying their salary. They know what side their bread is buttered on. Combat pay. It was. You needed some combat pay to work in some of them schools. Oh my goodness, this is really. I have so many notes, but I may try to do. I don't know if I want to do the second part of this, but I just want you guys to really. So much more to this that I just don't even have time to read it all. That's how good it is. I'm telling you, it's really an amazing report. If you guys get in here and read it, you can see the same stuff is happening today. Just want to kind of introduce it to you a little bit. But if you got in there and read it, you would be like, wow, why didn't they ever, Chicago Daily wanted them to, they were rioting, the powers of restraints by the police and the National Guard, because they were called the police in there, and they was being so harsh and so hard that they kind of, okay, they was like, whoa, that they even studied that. They even studied that. This was after they was calling the police into these ghettos and stuff. And they was coming in and they was I mean, they were beating the heck out of them people. I mean, and some of that stuff was the way that they stopped was when they would show it on, they was doing it, showing it on TV, and they was, in the daily paper, and they was writing about it. That's when they began to calm down about it. Okay. I'm telling you, this, you need to read this. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, and then you know what? They was looking at New York and they said, oh, you didn't need the cops in New York, but they had them in the South. And the South was acting crazy. And they said, oh, we didn't need the cops to be, the cops, the soldiers weren't needed. The police didn't even shoot anybody in New York in the 60s because it was totally different. And that was another program that they began to say, okay, why in the South more people are getting shot than there was in the North? That's another report. I'm telling you, it was so much to this report. It's so big. I just didn't even have enough time to even, it would take so much to really go into this. Um, but just know that benign neglect is an attribute or a policy of ignoring an often delicate or understandable situation that one is helped to be responsible for dealing with. I mean, people, this is, you know what, you guys, it's just a lot. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I didn't want to be here all night. I said I was going to do maybe an hour and a half. I'm trying to shorten it, I'm not be on here for 2 and 3 hours, 2 hours. I don't like those long shows. But I do want you guys to think about what we talked about, and think about the vaccine, if you're going to take it or not. If you're not going to take it, what are you going to do? I want you to pull up this. It's called the Kerner's Report. Pull it up and read it for yourself. If you can, pull up the Nassar. Okay, that's what we're gonna talk about that also. I'm trying to understand it more to be able to explain it. I'm really bad at explaining stuff that I really don't understand, but I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it, what's going on. So I'm gonna try to get it out and try to talk about it. And I really wish you guys, if I put the thing in the comment, you guys can call in and get on here and we could talk about it. I don't want to be, because I'm sure you guys have questions sometimes, that we could, dialogue. You talk, I talk, and we could dialogue together. So you guys is listening to me for the next hour and a half or 2 hours. Um, but yeah, that's why they don't pay any attention to us right now, because it's called benign neglect. Okay. And I think Dr. Claude Anderson talked a little bit about that also. He talks a lot about that. I love him. I love him. I wish we could have him as one of our go-tos, as somebody that we can have as a leader. Because he wasn't bought out. That was one person they couldn't buy out. But Dr. Claude Anderson had some high he had some high positions. Okay. He was up there with Carter, right? I think he did. Jimmy Carter, I think he was up there with him, and he worked alongside him. But that dude is off the chain. But I think he's, getting up there a little bit. But I think his books is amazing. I'm going to buy his paradigmic books for my granddaughter, so that she can learn about money. Because I do, we have to start changing the mindset of our children to get them to understand that they can own their own business and they don't have to repeat this horrible, whatever we call it, the trend of being employed by white folk. It's time for us to do for self. And the only way we're going to do that is that we come and work for self. We protect self. We buy from self. We buy from each other. We buy from our own. We protect our own. And we cover us, because we are all that we have. And I keep telling black folk, I told a girl today on my page, honey, them white folk ain't your friend. You gonna find out. And hopefully you won't find out the hard way. It's other people out here, that Bill Cosby, ask him. He's in jail. R. Kelly, ask him. These are people. Bill Cosby just knew white folk loved him. I mean, they loved him. But as soon as they got done using him, what happened? When they get done using their toys, they break them, right? We have to stay in code. We have to get in code. We have to know the code first. And Dr. Claude Anderson talks about that in his Poweronomic books. And I hope you guys will look up Dr. Claude Anderson Poweronomics. And those books are, I think it's $100 for like 5 or 6 books. You get a lot for the price, but I think it would be so much worth it. So worth it, even if you bought one at a time. At least one that talked to us about money, because I think a lot of the Black community, we don't really know about money because we didn't learn it. We just started making it and started spending it, and we didn't know, we weren't dedicated to anybody. We were dedicated to whoever had the cheapest prices, and that's what China does. Even in Africa, the African business person will come out and they have the cheapest prices, but the Africans will go to Chinese people instead of going to their own, and that needs to stop. But until we educate them and help them understand that you are killing your own by, they're not putting any money back in your communities. Okay. We have to put the money back into our own communities in order to survive. And I think we need to understand that here, even in the States, that we have to start buying from them and we have to start buying from each other. We are all we got. I keep saying that, but we don't understand that. But I do thank you guys for tuning in. You guys, I'm not going to be here all night, but I did want to bring that to you. And I want you guys to just be praying every day for the destruction of America, judgment. I just pray every day for judgment on America. I pray that Israel wakes up. And I know everybody has a time, because he said not one will be lost. And I do believe that everybody has a time on when they're supposed to wake up, but just think 2/3 will die. So you have to have an exit plan. Phil, Dr. Phil talk, not Dr. Phil, but Phil from the African diaspora, he talks about that on his channel. Have an exit, have an exit plan. Have an exit plan for your children. Have an exit plan for you. Have an exit plan for Africa. Have an exit plan, you guys, because we're not going to be here. I don't see us being here 2 or 3 years. I don't. I do not see it. I do believe that they're going to put us out. They're going to give you one door. One more door is going to open, and if you're smart, you'll leave. Because if you don't, you're going to die. And you don't want to. You don't want to die with Babylon. I don't. I believe the whole system, and it's not just in America. I believe the systems that white folk use is Babylon. I don't think it's just one place in America. I think it's the system that they use is it's the Babylon system. But you don't want to be here when God is destroying a city, a country because of us, and you're stuck in the middle. With that said, family, I want you guys to have an amazing, amazing rest of your week, a great weekend. I want you guys to practice your Second Amendment. Keep your head on the swivel, because if Trump loses or if he wins, I just think the Boogaloo Boys, the 3%ers, are going to just be buck wild crazy. If he loses, you can believe they're going to be buck wild crazy. So with that said, you guys have an amazing one, and peace, family. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you on another day.